Hey everybody, this is the professor with Day Trading for Success. Today is a Sunday, just before 1 o'clock. Got exciting news today. The Million Dollar Margin Club has officially released their book about the RV strategy and about a bunch of other stuff. It is now available on Amazon, and I'm going to talk about it here today to show you what's inside. If for some reason you can't afford to buy the book, you can get a lot of the information right here for free, as with everything on the channel. So I'm allowed to do that. So if you guys want to get it, that's cool. I would, however, after going through the book myself, I helped work on it for a while with them, as well as a lot of other people. So it's as far as books go out there, and I have read a lot, as you know, about trading. I've never seen anything like it. That's not to say this as a promotional thing, but I just have never seen something that talks through a strategy, shows you how to do a strategy, and has worksheets for the strategy all in one book. They're all kind of just elusively talking about it, but never really practically showing it. And that's really the difference in this book. So I think that they captured it really well. I'm so psyched about it. So without further ado, I'll just start to get right in to show you what is on this book. I will be making a link for the book on this video, as well as I'll start putting it on the comments. I know everybody's been waiting for it, and it's going to really answer a lot of questions about the trading, but I'll go into it. So first, I'm just going to show you the cover. This is what the cover looks like. It's kind of cool. Finally, a complete step-by-step guide on how to day trade and scalp using a range-bound strategy, meaning the RV strategy, which it says it right over here. And day trading, make a living day trading, and then some of it's cut off here a little bit. It's too big for the whole screen, but the Million Dollar Margin Club's beginner strategy. This book was put out by the Million Dollar Margin Club, not Day Trading for Success. I wanted to make sure I clarified that, because I was asked to do that. So it has a cool, I'll show you the ratings. It has some of the best patterns that you come across when you're scalping or particularly trading the RV strategy. And then their accuracy rating, how much you can depend on, not just back testing by them and the members, but then taking data from all the other professional traders that have back tested it, and then combining and making an average of what you can expect from these. So it's pretty accurate, I think. Obviously, any given day that can be different. But here's what's inside. But I think what I'll do, rather than read all these with you slowly, is I'll show you the table of contents, and we can look at them together, and then we'll start going through the book. So hopefully this is going to be enjoyable for you guys. I'm not going to be trading, so if you're waiting for that, and that's the only reason you're watching, thank you. Subscribe, thumbs up, all that stuff. But this is just about the book and how to get the book. I might compare it to a layout that I have under here, but right now it's just about, which is this setup I have right now. So let me bring over the book. So now, unfortunately, it's not, the one page isn't next to the other page. So when you're comparing some of the tradings, like there'll be live, not live, there'll be a picture of trading candlesticks, and then there's descriptions on how to trade them when they get into actually how to trade them. Normally they're right beside it, so it would be way easier to follow. I got this proof copy of the book. I have a hard copy of the book. I don't even have it up here. That was dumb. Well, anyway, this is the proof copy of the book. So it's going to kind of go up and down. But this is how it kind of opened. I'm not going to go through, it's a long book, so I'm not going to go through every page, but I'll definitely hit the highlights. So here's what you can expect inside. It's going to talk to you about what is day trading, what is scalping, what is channel trading, what is shorting. It's also going to talk about the brokerage of the account. I know a lot of questions I've gotten about offshore accounts, so it has a list of the offshore accounts that can margin for a very low amount of money. So that's pretty cool that all the information's in the book, as well as the next chapter has all the studies for scalping using the RV strategy. Remember, these aren't just for the RV strategy. It focuses on the RV strategy, but it's really focusing on range bound, finding a range of a stock, and then implementing the tools to trade that range and identify when to come in and go out. So it's very, very specific, which leads me back to the part I like so much about it, how it's not like other books that are just globally talking about the same thing, the same emotions, the same, this really, it does take you on a journey. I've noticed, I really like the way it's been laid out. It takes you on a journey. So if you knew nothing, you could start trading at the end of this book. So it does have to have some of that stuff, but it's got a lot more detail than you would ever see in a typical book that I have ever seen out there. So maybe you can shout them out in the comments if you found other books that have this kind of detail. I have not seen them. Anyway, it talks about the studies and the 1-minute scalping layout, which is in here. Most of you who watch the channel know about this layout, so they asked to use that layout, and they have that layout from Thinkorswim. Level 2, time and sales, big descriptions, how to use it with example, scanner, how to set your scanners and how to find stock consolidation and what it means, how to set your ATR, what does the ATR mean, what does the Fibonacci retracement levels mean and how to set them, how to do your support and resistance and finding channels. I mean, they actually got this captured in a book, which is pretty cool because you can refer to it as you're trading if you have any questions, as well as all these checklists. I'll show you that you can just go back and go, hey, here's what I'm supposed to do every day to trade the different strategies. Here's how I can remember, so I don't make a mistake. Because there's a lot of things to remember, as you know, if you're successful or not yet, all the steps you need to take. Then once you get used to them, they just become, you become automatic like a machine. But in the beginning, it's hard to remember them all. And as you get older, I won't point the finger at me. It can get hard to remember them all. But yeah, you want to make it so it's like, it's just second nature, right? So it does go into managing risk and understanding emotions a little bit, not like a whole book like some of these do. And I'm sorry, I'm not going to try to, it's not negative about other books. I'm just so impressed with this book and what it managed to capture in a few hundred pages. So I guess I'll just stop saying that. But anyway, the interesting thing about the managing risk, and a lot of you know, is it's based on your channel size. So it goes into that with an actual formula. And it actually does go into identifying all the different sizes of the channel. So we'll get into showing you some of the pages of that, which is really cool. And then at the end, you have all these worksheets so you can actually, and logs. And I guess they're coming out with a companion one that's just log sheets for this. And I think in a few months, they're coming out with an ebook version as well. And this book is being released worldwide, whereas the Trading Journal logbook that was put out was just through KDP, low content book. So a lot of people couldn't get it, but this has been released across the world. So I know we have a lot of people in other countries watching, and I appreciate it. And you should be able to buy this book. If you cannot, you should at least let this channel know, and I'll let them know to figure out a way to get that to you. So then it goes into how to prepare the RV strategy, how to trade the RV strategy with lots of details, examples and descriptions of entries and exits using the RV strategy, and the importance of the patterns I was just telling you about, and then how accurate they are and what they look like. And then samples of all the sheets, and then the actual work performance sheet. So you probably read ahead of me and read all that. So it covers a lot of ground in a very short period of time. So this is all the different currencies from all the countries around the world. I thought was a really cool touch. It doesn't matter where you're from, the strategy can work anywhere. This is just for the other book that was put out. And then some encouraging notes, and then asking you to review, and your journey begins, illegal notices, and then what is the RV strategy, kind of a description of it with an actual RV, which I thought was kind of cool. Sorry, I'm a little proud for having given some of the help in this book. So then chapter 1 just gets right into it. Now you're going to need to know what is day trading if you're new, so that covers this. I recommend everybody just reading these, even if you know what you're doing. It's pretty good to get another perspective from a group of professionals that laid it out and was edited for a while to put it, very succinctly, what is each thing as you're going. So what is day trading? What's the difference? What is scalping? Why is that different? And it is a little bit different, but it's the same. What is range-bound channel trading of a consolidating stock? So that's very specific to the RV strategy or any range-bound. And then what is shorting? And a lot of people are afraid of shorting. This describes what it is. which is pretty good. So very just right to the point. Here's the thing about the brokerages, and obviously you can pause this, so I'm not going to stay on one page so you can read the whole thing. But why do you need a broker? A lot of people don't even understand that. And when you when you first started, you didn't understand it, just like all of us. So yeah, you've got to learn this stuff from the beginning. What's the difference between market limit order and the trading fees explained? This has all gone through legal, so it won't get shut down like my dark pool video was. Advantages and disadvantages, and then direct access and trading fees, the value versus the speed, why that's different. So it really captured it, explained it so well. And then deciding on a broker, which is interesting too, and what the margin requirements are and what the PDT rule is, because that's pretty important too. So you don't need 7 pages to tell you what the PDT rule is. You get, again, I was going to do it again, but they're very succinct, and I think they really get it out. So then here's the brokers. So these are the ones that are offshore here. Now, I know they put this thing, they're not affiliated with any, so they don't approve or disapprove. And this could change at any given moment from the time the book was published, obviously. But these are some of the better known ones that, haven't had, complaints about money being taken or whatever. And then these are all these are specifically more day trading friendly too, based on the experience from the traders. So I'm sure there are brokers missing here, like for instance, Robinhood. I know it'd be very hard to day trade on Robinhood. That's just a personal opinion, but they felt so too and didn't include it. So these are ones that day trade. Now, I've noted that I asked and I realized that not all of them have SIMs. So when you're picking an account, I really would try to find one like Thinkorswim or Charles Schwab that also offers a simulator, so you can learn if you're new. So you can learn in a simulator that's like Thinkorswim. Now there are outside simulators you can just buy that aren't affiliated with a broker, and you can learn how to trade on that, and then just adapt it to your broker. There's a lot of gurus that sell their own sims and stuff. So that's something to look at. That I'm not, nobody promoted those or anything here. Then it talks about what to look into. I mean, if you're applying for a brokerage, what questions are you going to be expected to answer? So it was really, really thorough. I was surprised. Studies used for scalping the RV strategy, the time intervals used for these studies, and the 1-minute scalping layout. So this gets into study, learn, and practice. They have a bunch of guidelines here, what to go through. Now, this is almost jumping the gun, but they do cover them in a more detailed page by page. But it refers to come back and look at the basic guidelines for trading. The RV strategy guidelines are right here. Now, one of the things I recommend too, I just recently put up a different video on the channel that's actually 5 months old. And it shows me trading the RV strategy from 5 months ago, and we didn't have the scalpers, indicator back then. It was just the seller's indicator, which is great all on its own. If you don't have the scalpers, I used that for a long, long time. And the way that the lines were marked out, the levels are marked out, are different than this. Not completely, but it marks out 1 hour, 15 minute, and 5 minute on that video. It doesn't go back to the 4 hours. It did only one Fibonacci. And then it talks about moving these lines, which this book talks about too. So when you're right now, the idea is as the RV strategy evolved, right, there was a lot of questions. Where do I put my support and resistance lines? How do you determine where to put those? Why did you put that there? Ask the professor, why is that there? Why isn't it up here? Why isn't it over there? And it's a pretty subjective process in the beginning as to where to mark those support and resistance lines. And basically it was, if you watch that video, which is why I put it up there again, I think it's episode 25, but it's on the opening of the channel now, so you can go right to it. But if you watch that video again, and it has like 22,000 views, it's a very popular video. It kind of shows how you move the level up and down, the ceilings and the floor, based on how many wicks and bodies hit over a period of time, not like now you're being taught how to put it on the 4-hour wick and body, and then how you go to the 1 hour wick and body, and if they, and, see if they touch, start at the furthest time increment back and go forward. Now, a lot of the professional traders in the $1 Million Margin Club do not trade that way that this book is teaching you, and it's also leaving it open to go a different way too, and the way that I've been showing you with the latest videos. And the reason why is people feel that very confident in where they can mark their levels out. They feel they know where to mark them out, and they don't need a cookie cutter way to do it. So what I tried to develop for you guys was a very cookie cutter, if you didn't know anything, for beginners, and it works. It works very well. But as you get better at it, moving those lines around, having less channels probably, and getting more, using your talent, knowing where to put those support and resistance levels. As you get more and more successful, you might be able to do away with half the supports, and really just get a convergence of the 5 minute, 15 minute, and the 1 hour where it tapped the most times, where it hit that level the most, the price action hit that level the most times. So I know I spent a lot but I wanted to make sure, but for covering it, this covers everything. So you may choose not to put all these levels in, and I'm way ahead of the game here because it's going to show you exactly what to do. But I just wanted to make sure I didn't forget to cover that. So anyway, get to know your chart studies. They indicate before you start scalping. So there's, it's kind of taking you along on a journey, like what you should know. I love their graphics too. What you should know as you go on. So you need to know what the volume weight average really is. It's the value of the stock at any given moment. That's generally what it's considered to be, so, but what does it mean and how is it used? So you need to know that. And there's even graphs with it. I'm not typically using the upper band, the lower band, although I probably should start using them because, as you can see, they do turn around on them, and we're always looking for those types of support. So I've been toying with it, but this book has kind of told me for sure. I think I'm going to start using them again, just so the new people can see how to use them. But yeah, so this goes into in-depth about the volume weight average, the VWAP. Some people call it the VWAP. And then this is the SMA and EMA indicators and exactly what is typically used. What is the golden cross? What is the death cross? What are these all about and why are they considered to be used? And then the formula, the math, how their EMA is put together. So it's some pretty useful stuff that you don't have to go searching around on Wikipedia for or whatever. This will be a great reference book for this kind of stuff because it's really, it's you can count on the knowledge being totally correct. One of the things I've noticed using ChatGPT, it'll give me a wrong answer. Then I'll say, no, but isn't it this? And they'll say, oh, yes, I'm sorry. I apologize for my error. It is the way you said. And I'm like, well, geez, I can't trust it. What if I didn't know the answer? It was very annoying. So, having a source you can trust for even the smallest of things that many of you just say, I know all this by heart, but this is a pretty good source book for this type of stuff that might be simple to some and brand new for others. So this is a simple moving average examples pointing out a histogram. And in case you don't know what you're looking at, they point it out. You can tell there's teachers in the group. Candlestick histogram, just like it just pretty much lays it out for you. This is the first page I've seen that's like slightly off kilter here. I wonder if the book actually came through that and did it that same way. Anyway, sorry, I'm nitpicking, but so then it goes into the volume profile more. What is the point of control, the value area, and then here's a whole thing about the volume profile. What does it mean? This is one of the most important indicators there is. So you should read it and understand it. And of course, I talk about it a lot on the channel, and you have a bunch of videos about it too. But I use this all the time, even when I don't call it out. I'm always looking at it, always at this value high, this value low, this point of control, because this is where the price action is going to be drawn to, or put it this way, this is where the price action has been. So you're going to assume that it's coming back, right? So I say it's drawn to it. It's not actually the way it is happening, but and then they identify what's an open session, what's a pre-market by the color, because these aren't colored charts, unfortunately. The book would have to have been like $100 to do color or whatever. And then this is your volume profile set on a 10-day on a 5-minute chart. So it kind of shows you on the right, that's how it's normally set up. And then you're trading on these cliffs and valleys. You're looking to see if it drops off, is it going to pull back up to where the price action is, or is it going to fall all the way to the next price action? So you're kind of watching when it gets near a cliff or a valley, and some people call them bellies, and I mean, people have different words for them. But so having one on the right isn't a bad idea for a longer period of time. And then I have them for intraday, which is what you saw right here, which is more of an intraday on a 1 minute. So you kind of combine those two. And then this is the standard volume indicator. So when you're not using the scalpers indicator, the enhanced volume indicator, this is what most people who don't get the benefit of those cool scripts that are available for free on the channel here, this is what they see. And it's very usable. And then you're looking when you're going to enter into a trade, you're looking for alignment. If it's terrible, it's two dojis right here. But like say on this one, it was right here and you saw the volume spike up, right? But the action was going down, then, or even on this one. So the volume spiked up. It's like, there's a continuation of this move. So you jump in. So looking at this volume is important as you're trading. So the scalpers indicator kind of tells you, and so does the enhanced volume indicator. They'll tell you how many sellers and how many buyers. So that's even more, that helps even more so. So let's see. So then so here's the professional scalpers indicator here. So you can see here, and this is available for free on the channel. Just type in scalpers indicator, and then you highlight down under the information, or where it says show more, you highlight that, and then you bring it over to your platform, push Control V, and you get it in. And then you got to go, there's steps to go. And watch the video. It shows how to get it in to your computer, to your platform. But yeah, this is a game changer for momentum trading and for any kind of trading, really. So then it's just saying to study. And then, so again, having the formulas, the RSI, the relative strength index, what is it exactly? And where should it be used? And how typically is the time frame? And this is some good stuff to have. And then again, what does it look like? And what does it mean when you see it? See, typically overbought, typically oversold, these levels. This is good stuff that you should just, you need to start committing to memory, because every little edge you have when trading is very helpful. Average directional index, of course, is very helpful too. That's another one. You just want to see which way it's going. And it says right here, typically where you go. Now, there's a custom script available also on the channel about this. I don't think it has an individual video, but if you go to any of the videos that have the whole platform layout, there's one that's how to build it, and there's others, the perfect 1 minute and the perfect 5 minute. Find those videos, their episode numbers, and you can get this that has an alarm and has a lot more data in here than just the basic one. So they didn't show every custom script here, obviously, because a lot of people won't have them, but you can get them on the channel. And then basically what's recommended per chart time frame if you're going to scalp or day trade. This is pretty handy stuff. This was in the logbook that was sold as well, which is pretty handy stuff here. And then this is considered to be, as you know, we have this professional scalpers layout here. You see this all the time on the channel. So this is kind of laid out what each thing means, and it's kind of laid out here. So I won't go over it with you, because you've seen the books like a million times for this. But and then level 2, it goes into time and sales. There's a loud motor going off right now that's distracting me. But level 2, time and sales, how to understand how the crowd thinks. So this is, you see me trade this way a lot. This is going to really help you understand the level 2 in print, so you can keep going back to it and understand it if you don't get it. And it does have all the description about it, why it's used for the RV strategy, how and why, what it means, everything means on the level 2. And then actually, remember, these pages will be side by side to this diagram right here. So it will help you compare these to the diagram. And it's basically calling out what each thing is and why you're looking at these numbers and how you would add them up at the same price, You have to add those, look at how many are actually at that same price before that stock's going to move. So that's why you look at them stacked up and you're multiplying this by 100. See, that's what it says there, by 100. So I won't give you a whole lesson on level 2, but I mean, this book does do that. It gives you a whole lesson. It explains, right there, how many shares are actually, by 100, so you can refer back to it. It was actually 6,900 shares at that price right there at 183.40 of Apple. So I happen to know that's Apple, but it doesn't say it on there because they can't really say what it is. It was luckily enough they were able to say the exchanges. Yeah, they get worried about copyright, and then understanding the time and sales, similar. This will be across from the chart, like the time the trade was executed. This was the best executed price. Now, you don't see me trade with this a lot. If I'm on Lightspeed or when I'm trading momentum, I do have it up mostly so I can see big blocks of green or big blocks of red fly by that help, because I'm not trying to read I'm not trading stocks that are so slow that I can read. I study each individual receipt, because these are basically receipts. But I do like to look at the movement go up and down very quickly. So you guys haven't seen me do all the different type of trading that I do. Chapter 5. So we're just barely beginning here. So hopefully this isn't boring to you guys. So scanner and stock consolidation is right here too. So why is a scanner important? Now you can buy separate scanner services all over, and man, there's all those commercials. I see them on YouTube. Don't do it. I mean, if you already have it and you love it, great, whatever. But you don't need to do it, I guess is what I should say, because they have everything you need on the Thinkorswim platform, which is what we're showing. So they showed the setup for the RV strategy here, and then they called it out exactly what it was, how you set your scanner to get that. But I have a couple videos about the momentum, ways to set up different ways for momentum trading on the scanner, as well as there's a couple when I go specifically explain the RV strategy, I do pull in the scanner and show this very thing. But now you've got it here, so you don't even need it. And I think one of the things that's changed, I've noticed, is we used to say that you wanted the ATR to be over 6. And it doesn't need to be over 6. So let me just see. What does it say here? Oh, yeah, between ATR, between 5 and 7. Okay, so it does say between 5. I think some of the videos said over 6, but we've even trading them below 5 sometimes. If it's a really well-known large cap, we'll go lower, and just knowing that there is opportunities there. It's just the better opportunities with the higher ATR. It's just a better opportunity. So this goes in about how to identify stock consolidation. What does it look like? There's what it looks like on a chart, or resting, they call it. And that's where we want to go in. I recently talked about a video when Wednesday before or whatever, where the Fed Wednesday, and they were saying how the VIX hadn't been over 19, and I think that that's just perfect for consolidation for like a couple, three weeks or a month. So this goes into that. Cool graphics again. I think they've included everybody in there. And then, chapter 60 ATR, the Fibonacci retracement level. So it's going to go into detail about that, understanding the ATR before you start trading. Really, the ATR, just so you know, it's not just range bound in the RV strategy. This is so important to understand for any kind of trading. Almost every professional trader uses an ATR. They use it to see what is that stock going to most likely be, the parameters of that stock in a day. So, basically the $1 Million Margin Club put it down more to a science about how to mark a channel using the ATR. So, but they're used for every type of trading, your ATR levels. So, and this is going to show you how to set it exactly, and which you've probably seen on the videotapes, the videos many times. You can tell I'm an old timer. But anyway, so that has a lot of description about that, and then understanding the Fibonacci. What is it really, and then how to use it, how to set it up on the charts. So there's charts examples, which are great. So, and then, talks about just recapping there and your Fibonacci, some cool artwork there. Support and resistance, finding your channel. So now more details about exactly how to set up your support and resistance levels. So in the different time increments, because it seems like at the bottom of every few pages, it goes into RV specific, which is kind of cool. If you're buying the book just to learn the RV, there is no other book like this that covers what the RV strategy is. And then, how to create them, the intraday levels here. And it talks about a lot about a strategy within these, which is pretty interesting and pretty helpful. And here's more examples of support and resistance, very simple examples here to kind of show you ceilings and floors, channels where to trade in, So right here with channel C would have probably been a really good one. In channel D, you would have been able to trust a lot of the moves here. This channel didn't really come into play much, but you mark it out still by the different levels. So more examples, support and resistance are here. So you can see as you go through the day, these channels are made by a professional trader. You see me call them pivot points. And you can see this would have been a really big channel, but that's before 10 o'clock. So now 10 o'clock started, you probably would have got a good move here, and then as it came back up again, you had this great channel. Then it came back down to this great channel. So you've seen me find these channels, and these are pretty big ones. And by the way, this is going to go into the sizes of the channels and what they mean too, which is pretty cool. So there's a lot of really specific information and charts with the side-by-side stuff, that helps you see and telling you what they are. Important about making a trading plan. So this is a lot of stuff has to be covered in here that some of you may know, but really refresher, understanding your risk somewhat had to be covered in the book. And this has the specific formula for the RV strategy, which is really good here. So they broke it down. We got math people, so it's pretty simple. But and then some, for instance, that's what this means, So really teacher-based stuff here that makes it very easy to understand. You can refer back to, you can take notes. When I went through it the first time, I took notes on pages, and I was just going to go to specific pages for you guys. But then I decided I'm just going to go through the whole thing. Important notes to remember when day trading. So, these are just like little things you should look at, every once in a while before you start trading, where you can refer to that. Remember I said the guidelines, it's referring to them here in the very beginning, those guidelines. And then it gets into examples of a daily trading plan here, which is kind of cool. So they have worksheets that you can copy, take, or just use in the book for these. And then it does go into the simulator. I mean, this is the thing about the whole risk management, guys. You've got to, you really, really need to trade in the sim first. Yeah, you really need to. And I don't think I need to say it for showing you a book, but I am not a licensed financial advisor, so seek the advice of somebody that you trust. So I know it says it all over this book too. So I like this graphic a lot. Like, this is a guy that went through the simulator and he's a winner. And these people, you don't have the patience. And I just got to go. I know what I'm doing. The problem with those people, I'm definitely in this crowd originally. I will say, I'll fall on my sword, is that they get early success and then they really do think they have it, and then they're not prepared for what the next thing that happens when they start losing, and then all the bad things take over. Then you lose your confidence. So going more like the turtle rather than the hare is the better way to do that. But and then again, more facts about entering a trade, understanding and overcoming emotions. So there's some touching on that. And remember, I referred to you that book, Trading in the Zone, and that talks a lot about once you really learn and you have the sim trading, and you're making successful trades, we tend to hold ourselves back. And his biggest thing was trust yourself. If you just trust yourself and follow your daily plan, if it's not going well, then you stop for the day. But you have to keep trusting yourself. The only problem would be to that is if you just keep trading past your max loss, which is I'm also guilty of. But but that's the hardest lesson to learn, is to, getting out and following your plan is the hardest one. The next one I would say is trusting yourself. They're kind of one and the same. So this is, again, how to prepare. now you're ready for your first day. You've studied all that stuff. It's going to go into more here. It goes into the channel sizes here, and there's a graph coming up that's even better for that, the RV strategy. So now it's going to say, here's your day. It started. You go to your scanner. You set up your ATR levels. It's literally going to walk you through step 3. Mark your 2-day Fibonacci. Mark your 10-day Fibonacci. Mark your 4-hour. And if you want to keep going, 1 hour, and then 15-minute. And then finally, even 5-minute, if you want to keep marking. A lot of people don't mark all those levels. Some just, like I said, just mark the 15-minute and 5 and the Fibonacci. And some only the 4 hours and the Fibonaccis, and some only the Fibonaccis. A lot about your risk tolerance, man. It's a lot about your risk tolerance. So, and then this is showing after that's all been done, which is kind of cool. There's a scalper's indicator down. This is very current information. This is blocking out the time frames. This is the 10 o'clock to 11. This is the power hour. What opportunities did you have here? There's a lot right there. Some here, some here. This one. If you really capitalize on that trend going down, you've seen me when it drops out of them. You just so much money to be made. You just follow the guidelines, and you can capitalize from this move without panicking. You follow the ceiling and floor guidelines, and you're taking profit as this happens. So you got to watch those. Well, it has examples in the book too, but watch the video too. Videos about this stuff. But look at this. This was after 11. Look at all that. It seems like this is like the best trading for consolidating right at the times that we don't normally trade, which is interesting. And then now it has a rating system. So this is really important. And I know I kept alluding to it. So now if you go after, you try to, find 3 or 4 stocks for the day, and then you rate them. So, you have the criteria, and then you rate them. So like, you don't want it to be on expiration Friday. It can be, but you lose a point for that. You don't want there to be news. It can, but you lose. You don't get to mark a point on that. Yes, no, or just a check mark. If it's good and nothing, if it's bad, people mark them different ways. I've seen in the club. But this kind of lays out like trying to find your best stock before you start. So this is really, if you're not going to buy the book, take a picture of that anyway. That's really helpful. And then chapter 10, how to trade the RV strategy. First day of trading the RV strategy. So now there's like a checkbox, like check it out. It's almost like it's a race, you're on a stock car race or something, and you're just checking over your car or whatever. You need to make sure you understand this stuff. And it may seem like a huge, daunting order to do that, but if you've read the book, read it twice. It's pretty large print and easy to follow. It's laid out like a textbook. It's definitely laid out like a textbook, and it's very easy to follow. So, if you feel like you can't check that box, go back and read that page again. Of course, saying something like, I understand I have to take emotions out of trading. Well, you could understand that and still not be able to do it, of course. So as I still have problems. I think everybody does. That's probably the hardest one, but the rest of these are more like just check items. And then 10 things to remember for the perfect entry. Really helpful. If you can start to commit this to memory, this is pretty much every professional trader is going to agree with these 10 steps for scalping. These are not just made up. These are like, from one person or something. This is a collective group. And then if you just, whomever you're following, other people, they're probably telling you the same stuff. This is what you're looking for. So those steps, what to look for before entering and exiting a position. So this is a little more in depth. But it's kind of the same thing. And then finally, you're going to get how a professional trader trades the RV. So an explanation of a trade happening, which is pretty helpful. And then there's going to be these examples. And keep in mind that these examples, okay, so here's actually the channel prices traded. So micro between 1 and 10 cents, small between 11 and 20, medium channels 21 to 34 cents, large 35 to 50, and then mega 51 and up. Some people only mark, so they have large and mega. Some people only want, nothing to go beyond 20 cents. Depends on what you want to set your share size as. And that explains what these channels mean. This is so helpful. I know a lot of questions to me about this from comments asking questions about how do I determine. Now this is going to be at least 4 hour, 1 hour, and 2 Fibonacci's to get the range down to here. But if you're doing the 5 and 15 minute, you're gonna have a lot of channels, so you're gonna really need to understand what the ceilings and floors mean in these channels. So again, it has another picture of that chart, and then the anatomy of a candlestick here. So in case you need a refresher on that, and the importance of it, So I saw this disclaimer. So obviously, when you're looking at a static, just like a plain chart, and you see entry and exits, the candle could be moving up and down and hit that part, 10 times. You don't know, so you could say like, hey, how do they know to exit right there? So it's like, so that's been taken into account, and it's really, and I'll go over it with you here. So now remember, off to the right will be an explanation of these entries and exits. But typically what happens is, so you're entering long. If this price action was below channel F, how it had to be, right, and then moved back up through the ceiling of channel G, that's your entry point. It's broken through. You're looking at it somewhere right there or right above. You're getting in, right? Now, this could be going like this. This could be going like this. It could be dropping back through, going. You're not going to get out of position right away because you're going to have your trading plan figured out, like how much can you lose per trade, $10, $20, $50, and your share size is adjusted accordingly to these channels, and that's all in the book. So you can manage a little bit of moving back and forth with the price action, right? But you're ultimately trying to stay in this position to go up this channel. Here's the channel you're trading, right? So you're trying to get up here. So after it breaks through, you're like, hey, you could sell right at the top, right there. You could sell at that exact moment before it broke through. But the way that you should trade is, because you're trying to get the maximum amount of money, is you wait for it to break through, because it could keep going, right? And then as it breaks through, if it pulls back down, then you can even see they don't even have it at the very top of the ceiling. It like really pulled back down. And this is where it ended up closing. And so it pulled back down. You're like, hey, I could have got it right at the top of the ceiling, and I'm not going to lose money. So after it broke through that floor of E back into channel F, you get out. So you've got a nice trade. You probably got 12 cents, at least 10 cents here. So that's a nice trade. So the same type of thing happened. It spiked below this floor, and then it broke back through. Oh, no, I'm sorry. It's up here. So you're over here. So this closed here, right? And then that means it opened in this area. So it went up here, closed, and then this started to short right away off of that close after it already had dropped down. So it was dropping down, closed. You got in on a short. You might even have seen me reverse right there, as it dropped down. And then it broke through the floor and then started to go back up at some point. And you're like, nope, this isn't looking good. I'm going to get out. So then it closed here. So these are all red candles they're black. So that's where they close. They close on the bottom, whereas the green close on the top. So that closed here, which means when this action started, whatever way it started to go, it broke through this floor at some point. And when it broke through and then started to go back up, it didn't go far. You're like, oh, I'm going long. Now, most likely you've got other indicators. Look at that scalper's indicator. I mean, you can't just go from this, right? But I'm just trying to explain to you how all these trades are figured out so the best you can follow on a stationary chart. They're waiting for it to go to its lowest point, then break back up, highest points, then break back down. That's what you don't know what they are, so you use the levels to make a determination. It won't always be perfect, but if you really think about it, if you trade that way, it's gonna work for you. I mean, if you just look at the channel. So that's why the whole thing is like, respect it until you can't. Respect them until you can't. So we used to say 25 to 35%, but you see me trade now, I'm respecting them until I can't. Now it's not, I mess up all the time, push the wrong buttons, I do, and it doesn't go the way, so it's not a perfect science, obviously. They're showing you a perfect science, but it can't always be a perfect sign. So you know these things are going up and down. Again, once you get a cushion, like you went way down here, it would have been better to enter there, right? But that's not logical. You didn't know what was going to happen. But as it broke back through, it's logical. It's like, hey, I already had green when it went down, and then it started to go down again, or it might have even gone up and went down, and then I got in it. Why? This is kind of important to point out to you, right? This stopped halfway through the channel. To me, I'm very afraid of trading this. So when it doesn't complete its move in the middle of a channel, I'm afraid, especially right after a doji. So there's some nuances in here to understand. And this isn't the level. This is a VWAP. So it didn't even tap that level here. So this is the one that it broke through. So it went up, came all the way down, closed here. At some point it was down here. So it closed here, then it opened right there. That's the opening of it, right? But then it might have gone up here first. So you might have gone in, maybe. It could have got you in. It could have, because I would have thought about going in here, or it might have spiked down first. We don't know which way it went first, but after it went down, then broke through that floor again, that's definitely want to get in at that point. And then it might come down again, but you're riding it all the way up. And even if this is moving up and down, you've got a cushion. So you're going up and down, up and down, up and down. You've got a cushion, so you feel safe. It's like, I'm going to ride it. And it breaks all the way up. There's a perfect exit, but you don't know that, right? So then it falls off and you're like, okay, I'm keeping my profit. It broke back through the floor. So I hope that's understandable, guys. And I think that a lot of the trade, and this isn't exactly, tells you exactly what I just said. I mean, literally, this is an explanation, maybe not word for word of what I just said, but this was described using that logic. So you can refer to these, like, what does it mean? What does it mean? Well, it's right here, and they'll be right across from the chart, so they're lined up. So I won't go through all those, but that's what the book's for. So there's a whole bunch of those that really give you a flavor of how to trade. A lot of them about when to hold. And then this little 99 is telling you that there's, to go back and look, that there's live action going on, so you can't see them. So it's kind of an explanation and disclaimer about, like, yeah, whoever described the trade doesn't know exactly what the price action was. You have a greater advantage than the person describing the trade, because you get to see all the other indicators live in action as you get used to them. So it should be actually easier for you to succeed than it was just to draw them out. I hope that didn't sound ridiculous, because it's really the truth. So these are just more trades. I won't go through every trade, obviously. And then sometimes there's no trades. See, they said that, then they put the pause thing, which is kind of funny. And then it gets into more like over a larger time period, a little harder to follow, but they're all described. And of course, you'd be looking at the scalper's indicator. So there's a bunch like that too, with longer descriptions over a greater period of time, like the whole trading period that you might trade that morning, whatever, in either the open set, after the half hour after open, or at the power hour. So there's just so many trades. They try to cover every type of trade that would happen to you. And then there's the importance of these patterns. So it goes into the candlestick patterns, which is really cool. I hope you're getting excited watching this, because there's a lot of stuff in here. It just keeps going. So it talks about how they're rated, what went into rating them besides just massive back testing, how it's so important that the patterns are so much more reliable when the volume's high. And then it goes into rating the patterns, describing what they are, what they look like on a chart. These are actual chart examples of these, and somebody found all these. And then, what does it mean? And these are the ones that most commonly you're going to see trading, day trading. I mean, like, I don't think it has like head and shoulders in here, for instance, because over the short period of time that you might be scalping, you're not going to come across long, complicated, continuous patterns. So they try to cover the ones that you see on a regular basis, and did a good job, because I definitely see these. I call some of these out to you guys when I'm trading. So what do they look like? What do they look like on a chart? Because they don't have to be the same color. A lot of times people think like, oh, it's not red, so it's not really a hammer candle. No, that's not true. So you can read the explanation. Oh, this one's pretty simple here, but because it talked about it more up here, yeah, for the hangman. And the shooting star, similar. Inverted hammer, kind of cool. flat top breakout, bear pattern. So you have these for references, which is really cool. Again, I haven't seen them quite shown like this, so it's so easy. The pull, the flag, the continuation, retracement has to be, less than 50% downward, or it's no longer a bear flag. So these are the kind of things that aren't normally explained when you see other people try to give you patterns. So I found it I think they did a really good job. I found it very helpful, and then highlighting them. What does it look like on a chart too? So good stuff. You just saw me trade these last week, I think, the tweezer. I saw a couple of those and called them out. And then it gets into the daily log sheets, not log sheets, making a daily plan. And then how you rate a rating system that you can do every day. What does it look like when you do that? And then the log entries are going to have, stuff to figure out your channels. Then it has example of how to do your log entries and what does it look like when you do them, which is kind of cool. I love this picture. I stayed at this picture for a while because what I didn't see right away, first of all, look at the old style phone and stuff. The title is, here's what happens when you don't log your trades. But I love this margin call down here. Just thought that was a great touch. But anyway, that's cool. And then it's an in conclusion, another ask you to review and thank you, and if you liked it, and then it goes into a lot of you get a bunch of free sheet. Not free. You paid for the book, but you get a bunch of these to start you off. So there's a lot of them here. Let me go down, and then at the bottom you got some notes. And then another glossary term, which is a lot like the logbook, but a little bit different. Wow. So that was a lot, guys. That's the book. And it's cool. So I'm going to put a link to it on this video. And there'll be a link to it on the general information on the channel. And you can go push that link and go right to Amazon and purchase it. Again, there will be a companion book, they tell me, coming out that has more of those sheets if you like using them. That'll just be all those sheets and much, much cheaper to buy. And then eventually there's going to be an ebook too coming out. So I hope you enjoyed the video, guys, and be careful out there trading. And I hope you enjoy the book like I'm enjoying this book. All right, thanks for watching.